Newsmax studio in New York City, here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. Jake Tapper, on his show on CNN yesterday, did something which I found very refreshing. He took Harry Reid to task. Harry Reid, as you know, has been on the floor of the Senate mocking the Koch brothers, as if they're the only billionaires that have political influence, that use their dollars to fund projects and influence people. Of course, the Koch brothers fund hospitals and cancer wings and build parts of houses and all kinds of great things. But Harry Reid says they're un-American. Well, Jake Tapper did a story on this yesterday, and we're going to have more on a Gimme 5 next week. But I wanted to give you a taste of it, and kudos to Jake Tapper. Watch.
Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid came to the floor of the Senate today to rant once again against the Supreme Court's recent decision striking down overall contribution limits to political campaigns. And that's when the senator from Nevada suddenly started singing a populist fight song that may not really be completely on pitch with reality.
Okay, and here's the popular fight song. Of course, it involves Harry Reid trashing the Koch brothers, and then Jake Tapper tells the rest of the story, as someone more famous than I once said.
The decisions by the Supreme Court have left people with a status quo in which one side's billionaires are pitted against the other side's billionaires. Except one side doesn't have many billionaires.
One side doesn't have many billionaires. The left doesn't have many billionaire backers. Oh, really? Well, you could name George Soros, David Shaw, Irwin Jacobs, just to name a few. Let's not forget, of course, Tom Steyer. You know, Tom Steyer.
All right, now we'll have much more on Tom Steyer next week, but don't you love it? Don't you love it? And you know, it's just, how could you believe anything Harry Reid says? I mean, you know, he's the man who stood there on the floor of the Senate. He's calling these great Americans un-American because he doesn't like what they do politically. He's the guy who stood there and said, why should I help a kid with cancer when I have people on who are on furlough in my own state? They got their own problems. He's a man who said that I know that Mitt Romney hasn't paid 1 penny of federal income tax in 10 years. You know, I mean, how do you believe anything they say? Anything? And that's a question you have to ask yourself. I cannot answer it for you. Hopefully you believe me. And the poll that I'm going to tell you about right here, Americans continue to oppose, I said oppose, closing Gitmo. I know the president thinks that all of America is on his side, no matter what the policy issue is, but they're not. And almost no matter what the policy issue is, but especially on Gitmo, on Guantanamo Bay, those who say that Gitmo should, let's see, what is the percentage here? The percentage, 29% of Americans support closing Gitmo. 29%. 66% oppose the idea. So 2/3 of Americans are not with Obama, not with Harry Reid, not with Hillary Clinton, not with the news media when it comes to Guantanamo Bay. But they would all have you think that you're nuts and something's wrong with you if you feel that way. Don't buy it. Don't buy it at all. All right, folks, so we'll be back with more of the Steve Malzberg Show. I mean, what else? And it is Friday. But first, we take a look at America's moment, and it takes a look back at D-Day.
By mid-1944, German military occupation engulfed the continent of Europe, while across the English Channel, an armada of men and equipment was preparing to take it back. On the 5th of June, Allied armies from the United States, Great Britain, and Canada joined those from Australia, Belgium, Czechoslovakia, France, Greece, New Zealand, Norway, Poland, and the Netherlands, and set sail for the Normandy coast. But they weren't all soldiers. At morning's first light, London Bureau Chief for the future NBC radio network, George Hicks, broadcasting live from the deck of an American ship, provided Americans back home with a front row seat.
Here we go again, another plane come over. Right over our port side. bow now.
Supreme Allied Commander General Dwight D. Eisenhower also used that same venue, radio, to inspire both his troops and the nations they were being sent to set free.
The tide has turned. The free men of the world are marching together to victory.
The date was D-Day, June 6th, 1944. You're watching An American Moment on Newsmax TV.